So look at the Clintons. They locked up more non-violent drug offenders, including a record amount of women, for doing the exact same offenses that Bill Clinton was doing. I mean, Bill Clinton, his brother Roger got arrested in a drug deal. He said he was buying some of it for Bill because he's got a nose like a vacuum cleaner. Yet these hypocritical bastards lock up hundreds of thousands of people, criminalizing young people, ruining their lives. Half of my friends in prison was veteran soldiers, come back from wars that they've been duped into by Bush and Clinton, and then they don't get any help. They get PTSD and they end up on street drugs. But when Hillary was up for the last election, she was spouting off about mass incarceration and how terrible it was for the black people and the women. So when you've got evil psychopaths in power, and I believe it's only the psychopaths that can rise to the top of politics.
Right.
They're the biggest crooks in the world. The people have got to put the pressure because they're scared of the votes. And it's the people voting at the state level that has decriminalized and legalized weed and is causing this reversal worldwide. Because it was America that introduced all these laws to the entire world. The earliest cannabis laws were pharmaceutical societies in California. They wanted it illegal because they didn't want people growing free medicine in their own backyards. Then at the federal level, Harry Anslinger came in. He was working for Andrew Mellon and all these other interests, fledgling petrochemicals, pharma, plastics. And he demonized it and said, black men on marijuana will want to rape every white woman in sight. Went to the United Nations and said to the entire world, if you don't sign on for America's drug laws, America's not going to trade with you. So that's why the whole world has got all this violence right now. Everything from knife crime in London to all these people dying in Mexico. That is to do with drugs being illegal and criminals competing for that black market profit. Because by making drugs illegal, they made worthless plants more valuable than gold. Weed was called weed because it grew at the sides of roads. Pablo Escobar could get coca paste for $60 a kilo, and because of drug laws, he could sell it for $60,000 a kilo on the streets of America when he was getting started in the 70s. So drug laws have created the biggest profit opportunity in the history of the world for the cartels. And the politicians know this because they saw the same thing happen with alcohol prohibition.
Right.
Al Capone's running around with his machine guns. People are getting slaughtered. People are getting corrupted. But they've not stopped it with drugs because they've learned to profit from it. The contracts are in the tens of billions a year for the private prisons. And that's just one entity, parasitical entity. There are hundreds of them, everything from razor wire to telephone services. 3 strikes law in California, 3 crimes and you're serving life. They had people doing life for stealing pizzas and chocolate chip cookies. 25 years times $50,000, $1.25 million for a $10 pizza. So the California taxpayers were like, why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense. They tried to get it reversed. And when they tried to get it reversed, the wall of money rose up and stopped it. And the 2 principal sources were the Prison Guards Union of California, which had paid the governor off, I think it was like $1 million, to get 3 strikes introduced in the first place. And one of the founders of Broadcom, exclusive provider of telephone services to the California state prison system.
Wow. That is a heap that you just dropped. That
the US justice system is one of the biggest employers in the world. If they legalized drugs, it would whack the US economy because all those courts would be empty, all those jail cells would be empty, all those people in those bumpkin towns who are working as prison guards would be unemployed again. It would slam the economy so hard. These vested interests just keep it going.
I mean, I'm sure you keep up with it, but as far as the next presidential election in the U.S., who do you like? If you were living in the U.S. and you were a U.S. citizen, who do you like that's running so far? If there's
okay, so I view all people at the top of politics as absolute psychopaths.
Okay.
And I'm an observer of politics. I don't participate. I've never voted. I am, interested in the different characters that rise to the top, and I have extensively researched the Bush crime family and the Clinton crime families,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I came to these conclusions and came to write this War on Drugs series of books. So I've not researched Trump that much, but we're seeing a rise of populism worldwide. In the UK here, the people voted for Brexit. That was part of that. I do talks across the country. I go in these small towns and I hear the people who are pro-Brexit, and it's crazy because the Conservative Party here got that vote, and they typically don't because they're typically what the wealthy people vote for. But
Yeah.
because a lot of the working class people were pro-Brexit, they voted for the Conservative Party. So the Conservative Party has learned how to harness the votes of the poor people. But it's that rise of populism. If you can ride that, if you can attach onto that right now, you will win the election because that's happening worldwide. And I read over 1,000 books in prison in just under 6 years, a lot of history, philosophy, psychology. And if you go back to the 1900s, exactly the same thing happened, and it was a precursor for the world wars.